Something I forgot to say in the Bujin video. It was, obviously you can leave comments down below and suggest, um, like which archetypes, what decks, even stuff that you want. When it comes to like decks, how to beat them. Like, tell me what deck you would like me to be able to beat. And I'll make a video about it. Mainly, obviously, it'd be stuff like archetypes, because archetypes has a certain function. So most decks that are based off of archetypes, they function in a certain way. So obviously, I have tips on how to deal with these specific archetypes. Anything's like a rogue deck or something like that. Anything that's random is just an assortment of cards. That's a little bit tougher. That's just playing the game. I can't give you everything, you know what I mean? It's like I don't control you, so I can't play the cards for you. You gotta choose your destiny, you know what I mean? But when it comes to certain decks like archetypes, for example, a lot of them run specifically a certain way because it was designed that way. They were designed to do what they do. Like Malefics, the way you summon them is by removing a monster. You have to have a field spell and blah blah blah. So stuff like that. Since that's the mechanics, that's the way the archetypes work. You can exploit that, and that's the whole idea, is to exploit these decks. These archetypes that you're going up against. Is to learn from them. Just like when you're going up against dragon rulers, for example. You got to understand how they work. You got to be able to exploit the weaknesses. A lot of players don't focus on the weaknesses. There are weaknesses. Every deck has a weakness. Your job as a duelist, as a player, is to figure out the weakness and exploit it. The Achilles heel, as it were. A lot of players just focus on what the fuck their opponent deck does, and then just bitch about it. And then expect Konami to deal with it for them. Oh, please ban the cards. It's like, why? They're great cards. They're fun. Everybody gets to use them if you could afford them. So do it. Have fun. Play the game. It's a game. It's supposed to be challenging. It's not supposed to be easy. You're not supposed to be in a situation where you be like, no, I don't want no one to have a good deck. I want to be the only one with a good deck. I want everybody else to have ass. Like, I want everybody else to play with vanilla monsters. Why I play with monsters with effects? Like, no, that's just stupid. Then for all that, you might as well not play. Because it's the same thing as playing a shooting game and all you want to do is camp. If all you're going to do is camp and eat Doritos and watching the screen and gaining weight, you're better off not playing the game and go out, get laid or something, right? You know what I mean? To each their own, right? But this is about how to beat the Sylvans. Hopefully I didn't waste too much time talking. Alright. While I'm waiting for the volume to increase on the how to beat the Bujins video, I'm going to be making this video in the process. So if you saw the Bujin video and then you see this one, you will notice a lot of the cards, not as much has changed from that video and this one. I just changed a couple cards because a lot of these cards are generically good against a lot of decks, so obviously these cards will work just as fine. Now when I play Sylvans, for example, this is just my style. Everybody has their own style, but I like Archfiend's Oath because its effect is an excavate effect. So that's the way I roll. I play with that, and it works great for me. If it works great for you, awesome. I use Miracle Fertilizer. I do have a little slight problem with it, only because I can't summon, or set the turn I use it. I can only special. So I take advantage of it. I work around it, but it does kind of suck when I activate it. I summon a monster, my monster gets a boundless or something, you know what I mean? Or something happens, and then it's like, yeah, now I can't do nothing because I can't even summon my Lone Flying Blossom from my hand and derp, 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 you know what I mean? And then there's the whole, if whatever I bring back with Miracle Fertilizer, if it leaves the field, Fertilizer leaves, right? So if my monster gets boundless and whatnot, Fertilizer goes. So not only do I get nothing, I can't even summon. So it's like, but it's it's all about playing the cards, because anybody could just play a card, activate it, and then that's it, and derp derp derp, you know what I mean? So really good cards should have restrictions, so that way you have to actually read the card, understand the card, and properly play the card. That way it's not something as simple as, oh, you have a lot of monsters, dark hole. You know what I mean? That's just a noobish thing to do, or you're not even thinking of how to use something. Because I have my brother-in-law, Macho, if it has a lot of text on the card, he doesn't want to read it. And that kind of defeats the purpose of playing the game if you're not going to read the card, because then it's like, then every card in your hand is a dead draw because you won't read it. Since you won't read the card, you won't use it. You won't know that you can use it. You could win the duel if you actually just read the card. So I kind of try to drill that idea in his head. It's like, dude, you got to read it. At least read it once. I'm not saying every time you duel, read it. Read it once. Simplify it for yourself. You know, paragraph it. You know what I mean? Summarize it. That's the word I was trying to use. Summarize it into a simple concept that you can remember. I'm not going to remember every line of text in a card, but I'm going to remember, you know, key notes. All right, so continuing on, other players play Super Solar Nutrient. I like it. It's pretty cool. I like the concept. You know, it's a good way of getting Lone Fire Blossom out the deck faster. I like it. You know, I might start playing it. Same thing with Sylvans Charity. I might experiment. I'm gonna experiment with these cards. You know, see if they work for me. But originally wasn't a fan of Sylvans Charity because I want cards to excavate. I don't care too much about drawing and putting on top of my deck. But when I saw when I saw Sylvan Sage put this right back into my opponent's hand, and then he played it. Obviously, it wasn't in the same turn. It was, you know, separate turn. It's just first turn he played the spell card. Then second turn he excavated this by one of his Sylvan's effect, right? Because he comboed it with the field spell, of course, and then got this back, and then played it, drew 3, put 2 on top of his deck. I'm like, the fact that you can just basically infinitely draw is like, no, it's like infinite duality, right? Without the restriction of you can't special summon. It's like, no. That's broken. So I might start experimenting, you know, seeing how that works, since I am a big fan of Sylvan Sage. And of course, you know, the field spell is pretty good. It's pretty good. I like combining the field spell, of course, with Archfiend's Oath. I like doing that because I don't want to waste my summonings, especially if I'm in a scenario like this where I play the field spell, right? Activate Fertilizer. I'm trying to bring back a monster, but then the monster gets destroyed, so Fertilizer's gone. And it's like, damn, I set up the top of my deck so I can excavate, and now I don't have a monster to excavate. I can't even summon a monster to excavate, so it's like, damn. So then that's where Archfiend's Oath come into play. So you see how I play, my style and whatnot. You get the idea. These are some of the Sylvans that I like to play with because they have pretty good effects that I utilize. I noticed I didn't put Peacekeeper there, but anyway, so you understand how the Sylvans work. Lone Fire is not there because I didn't take the time to grab all the cards, but the idea for me, the way I play Sylvans, is to whore Lone Fire Blossom. I know I'm not the only one that plays that way. Obviously, I see other people, doing pretty much the same thing, but a lot of them, don't. Not everybody does, but there's a lot that do, and I'm one of them. So then playing something like Soul Release can really, really hurt the Sylvan deck, because they're just sending a whole bunch of monsters from the top of the deck to the grave. That's the whole purpose. So they're filling up the graves with monsters. So Lone Flyer is one of those big important ones. I have a habit of tributing Lone Fire Blossom to special Lone Fire Blossom, then tribute that one to special any of the Sylvans I want. That way I can get the Lone Fires out the deck, so that way when I'm excavating, I don't waste an excavating effect. Like, I can actually get an excavating effect instead of just sending a Lone Fire from the top of my deck. I can actually get one of my Sylvan's effects. So the idea is to take the non-Sylvan monsters out the deck. So that's why I go Lone Fire, then a Sylvan. Getting rid of my Lone Fire Blossoms basically would just kill any possibility of me OTKing or spamming. So Soul Release will be one way of beating the Sylvans. Then we got MST, that's only for when you chain against the field spell. As you can see, the internet disconnected, so that's gonna suck because this is gonna shut down soon. I play Archang's Oath, so you can get rid of that. With MST, again, you can get rid of Super and Miracle. So you get the idea. There's a lot of continuous spells and field spells that stays on top. I think I'm gonna have to redo this video. Alright, sorry for the technical difficulties. The breaker went out, so obviously the power went out. So that means the internet went out, so I had to go turn the breaker back on. Alright, so what was I saying? Alright, obviously in order to excavate with the monster's effects, you have to be able to activate their effects. And you can Veiler that, so that's what Veiler is there for. Enemy controller, the ability to steal your opponents. This is good more for mirror matches than anything, but the ability to steal your opponents, you know, Sylvans or any monster they have to make things harder for them, especially when you turn it into an XYZ monster. So that way you're literally, like, you can make a Zen main and sit on it on a Lone Fire Blossom with Zen main and make it harder for them to, or the Lone Fire. Creature swap. The Surgery is only useful against what is it? Copy plant. I mean, this, you know, that's the only thing. It's useful against copy plant. Wow. And then of course you got skill drain. Just having skill drain in the field will make it, you know, you're constantly negating the effects of the Sylvans.
Back up, I'm not clean. Battle me. Go get the Game Boy.
So that's what skill drain.
Get the Game Boy. Battle me. What's up? Go ahead and get the Game Boy. Stop thinking.
It's so awesome though.
Get the Game Boy. Stop thinking.
Composure evacuation. You know, obviously bouncing the monsters back to their hand. Make it harder for them to reuse the abilities. Regeki break.
Go get the Game Boy.
You know, the harder it is for them to keep monsters on the field, to be able to activate their effects, the better. Especially if your opponent plays Miracle Fertilizer, you know, you let them summon the monster just for the heck of it, right? And then Regeki break it just to annoy them. DNA Zombie World, you know, is good. It's more preferred than DNA Surgery. DNA Surgery is alright, but Zombie World is what you really want to go with, because most of the Sylvans, some of them have effects where they apply to plant type monsters. For example, P lets you summon a level 4 lower plant type, which is why you could bring back Lone Fire Blossom. So if you use Zombie World and turn it, every monster in the graveyard into a plant, P won't be able to do its effect. What else has an effect that has to do with plant? Was it Oak? I think it was Oak, right? Yeah, Oak. Target one other plant monster in your graveyard and put it on top of your deck. So since most of these apply to plant types, the Zombie World will obviously have a big impact on it. Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse, Swords of Concealing, just preventing the Sylvans being face up so they can't use their once per turn effects. Mainly this is for the big ones, obviously. Deck Debbie, since a lot of the Sylvans are pretty weak, you can deck Debbie them. Since they're all, are Earth, Wind, and Fire, you can use Allied Justice Catastrophe.